what are the most common symptoms that women are experiencing when they come to you? So, and then we'll walk through the side, what's happening when we have the drop in progesterone that we've talked about, the drop in estrogen, the drop in testosterone. But let's just talk about, first of all, a woman is starting to notice changes are happening. What are the signs, and what's she coming to you with the most common symptoms?
And so if it's a younger perimenopausal woman, or let's just say a woman that's in her late 30s, early 40s, the most common thing that will get them through the door is the heavy cycles, because suddenly they're just bleeding out, and they'll say, like, I'm going through a tampon every 5 minutes. My PMS is so bad. It used to be a couple of days. Now it's like 2 weeks, or they feel like they get 1 week of reprieve every month. And that's it. And they're just like losing their mind. They've got anxiety. They've got the insomnia. And what we typically see at that time is a little bit of weight gain. And that's almost like the sure sign, okay, you're definitely having some hormonal stuff, because it comes out of nowhere where, you haven't changed your diet, you haven't changed your exercise routine, and suddenly you're 5 pounds overweight. And you're like, wait, what's going on? And you do the things that you would normally do to get the weight off, and it doesn't work. So, you calorie cut, you start intermittent fasting, you start working out harder, and it doesn't budge. And those are the first that's kind of, okay, something's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
And that'll get them to come in for help. Yeah. And it's progesterone usually.
Right. Exactly the same thing happened to me. Very, very heavy periods. Went to my doctor, was referred to a gynecologist who wanted to give me a hysterectomy, Karen. Yeah. And literally we had a discussion, and she was giving me the paperwork to sign in the office. And I was like, this doesn't feel like a major operation would be the right way to go right now. I'm going to explore other options. At the time, I was told to have a Mirena put in as the progesterone birth control, which stops your heavy periods. And that worked. But would you say that's a Band-Aid solution? Like, what would you say to that?
100%. And then they say that the Mirena, the doctors will always say, oh, it doesn't go systemic. Ladies, 150%, the Mirena eventually gets systemic. You are putting in a synthetic progestin into the uterus, and eventually it does get into the system, and it will start to lower your natural levels of progesterone. And so that's not a solution, and that's not going to give you the benefits of progesterone. Progesterone is protective of your bones. It's protective of the myelin sheaths in the brain, so brain health. Like I said, it's great for the GABA receptors, for anxiety, for your skin. It helps us to make collagen. It can help some women with sex drive. It can help women, just with water retention, like all these different things in the system. So it's not just in the uterus. So putting in the Mirena, yes, it'll stop the bleeding, and that can be extremely helpful for women that are bleeding out 100%. But it's not going to do anything else for you. It's not going to act like our natural progesterone on the rest of the body.
Thank you for saying that, because when I did start my menopause hormone therapy journey and started taking HRT, I had to push to get progesterone, because I was told by my GP, because you now have the Mirena that has progesterone in it, you don't need to take a progesterone as part of your HRT. You only need the estrogen. And because I had interviewed you in my alcohol-free challenge, like not that long before, I said, no, I do need progesterone. That is localized progestin. It's not the same as bioidentical progesterone. And that's when I was then given progesterone along with my bioidentical estrogen to start taking together, and notice a huge change to many things, which we'll come on to talking about. But thank you for clarifying that the Mirena is not the right type of progesterone and is not enough for us in terms of, all the other symptoms that we want it to help us with.
No, and it can increase your risk of breast cancer, which a lot of women don't know, but it's progestins that was in the research studies that showed an increased risk of breast cancer in the women that were using the synthetic progesterone that had that increased risk. So, and it's so funny because you can't have HRT, because they're also worried that it's going to increase your risk of breast cancer. And then they give us the one thing that does increase the risk of breast cancer, and not the bioidentical progesterone that's actually breast protective. So it's just like, it's mind-boggling that these doctors have still not gotten up to date on the safety of bioidentical hormones and the efficacy of them, like how well they work for these things. But no, we're just going to rip out your uterus, which, okay, once again, imagine if we said this to men. Oh, you've got problems, gynecological problems, let's just remove your balls. That's the same, and it's just something that we would never do. It's ridiculous that they want to just take out a body part as the answer. And that comes with a whole slew of other problems as well. And it's one of the most performed surgeries in North America is a female hysterectomy.
Wow. And probably in most cases, there are many other things that could have been done before that being the solution.